So I'm going to do part 2 of this Caitanya tree. This section is very appropriate for all of us. Lord Caitanya thus addressed the multivarious varieties of branches and sub-branches of the tree of devotional service. So this is Lord Caitanya speaking to all of his followers, his descendants, disciples, grand disciples. And as I mentioned in the previous sermon, Prabhupada said that the ISKCON movement is a little branch of that Caitanya tree. Since the tree of devotional service is transcendental, every one of its parts can perform the action of all the others. Although a tree is supposed to be immovable, this tree nevertheless moves. All the parts of this tree are spiritually cognizant, and thus, as they grow, they spread all over the world. I am the only gardener. How many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick and distribute? It would certainly be a very laborious task to pick the fruits and distribute them alone. And still I suspect that some would receive them and others would not. Therefore, I order every man within this universe to accept this Krishna consciousness movement and distribute it everywhere. So here is an order from God. Here, Lord Caitanya, he's God, he's Krishna himself, coming in the mood of Krishna's greatest devotee. And Lord Caitanya is given the order. Every man should accept this Krishna consciousness movement and distribute it. So this is something each and every one of us should take very seriously. First, I have to accept the principles of the Krishna consciousness movement and then try to give it to as many people as I can. The basic principle of the Krishna consciousness movement is that I must chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and take it as my life and soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I myself must chant, must accept this Maha Mantra, and then I have to go and give it to others. Again, I will repeat what Lord Caitanya says. I order every man. So when he says every man, that includes women, children. It's not just the men. Ladies should not think, oh, he said the men, so no. Man means man, woman, and child. Everyone should accept this Krishna consciousness movement centered around the chanting of this Hare Krishna mantra. Everybody? And distribute it everywhere. I am the only gardener. If I do not distribute these fruits, what shall I do with them? So again, those fruits are the fruits of love of Godhead. All the wonderful spiritual qualities and attributes, rasas, all the spiritual pleasures, that is the fruits of love of Godhead. Those are the fruits that Lord Caitanya wants us to distribute. If I do not distribute these fruits, what shall I do with them? How many fruits can I alone eat? By the transcendental desire of the Supreme personality of Godhead, water has been sprinkled all over this tree. And thus there are innumerable fruits of love of Godhead. Distribute this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Let people eat these fruits and ultimately become free from old age and death. If the fruits are distributed all over the world, my reputation as a pious man will be known everywhere. And thus, all people will glorify my name with great pleasure. Now here comes one of the most powerful statements in the entire Caitanya Charitamrita, which Prabhupada would many times mention in his lectures. Bharata bhumite hoila manushya janmajar, janma sartaka kari kara para upakar. Now, this particular verse is very specific. Very specific. One who has taken his or her birth as a human being in the land of India. Okay? Bharatavarsha, India. Not Trump Tower, not China. India. One who has taken birth as a human being in the land of India should make his or her life successful and work for the benefit of all people. So that is your heritage. Coming from India, that's your heritage. You should perfect your life, be successful, and at the same time work for the benefit of others. Now Lord Caitanya quotes other verses from the Vedas. Etavad janma safalang dehinam iha dehishu pranaya artara diya vacha sreya archaranang sada. Because when Lord Caitanya, his method of preaching, you'll see this throughout Lord Chaitanya's life, he will make a particular point or a particular statement and then immediately back it up, corroborate it with statements from the Vedas. So here is one such statement. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with one's life, wealth, intelligence, and words. So, someone like me, I have given my life to spreading the message of Lord Caitanya and Krishna. I did that on July 15th, 1973. That is the decision I made. I will give this life to preaching the message of Krishna. Those of you who have known me now for so many years, have I done that? Okay. But if you can't do that, then you should give your wealth to perform benefit to others. Every temple loves that line. If the temple managers were here, they would say, oh, thank you, Narendra, very good boy. Give your wealth. If you can't do that, give your intelligence. Use your intelligence. And if you can't do that, at least give your words. Say something to others to benefit them in Krishna consciousness. Lord Caitanya is not finished. He has more quotes from the Vedas. Praninam upakaraya yad eveha paratracha Karmana manasa vacha tad eva mati man bhajet. By one's work, thoughts, and words, an intelligent person must perform actions which will be beneficial for all living entities in this life and the next. Now, when he says the next, that means just doing material welfare work is not sufficient. Feeding the poor, opening hospitals, digging wells, that's okay. But when it says beneficial works for the next life, that means giving people transcendental knowledge. As you see, what did Prabhupada emphasize? Distributing books. Because by reading Bhagavad Gita and other transcendental literatures, that will have an eternal benefit for the person who, even if they touch the book, Prabhupada used to tell us, even if they touch the book, they benefit. What to speak if they take it? What to speak if they read it? Every year, I go through, there's 2 different Gita Mahatmyas that I go through every year. And one of the Gita Mahatmyas says, and Rama Paliwal will confer, that if you read one shloka of Bhagavad Gita, you get so much benefit. Then Krishna says, no, all right, even if you read a half a verse, you get so much. You can't read one line, one word, even one word of Bhagavad Gita. So much benefit is there. If you don't believe me, I'll show you. I'm not making this up. How many people read Bhagavad Gita every day? Those who aren't, this is the inducement. So even if you just read one shloka a day, just one, before going to bed at night, read one shloka. What's that? Fine. Hey, if they read the purport, that's even better, but I'm saying at least one shloka. Lord Caitanya continues, I am merely a gardener. I have neither a kingdom nor very great riches. I simply have some fruits and flowers that I wish to utilize to achieve piety in my life. Although I am acting as a gardener, I also want to be the tree, for thus I can bestow benefit upon all. And now Lord Caitanya has one more reference. This reference is from Srimad Bhagavatam. When Krishna one time was walking through the forest of Vrindavan with the cowherd boys, after one particular leela, Krishna was walking with very young cowherd boys, and this verse was spoken. Aho eshang varang janma sarva pranyupajivanam sujanasyeva yushang vai vimukha yanti nartinaha. So Krishna is speaking to his cowherd boyfriends. He says, just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of a great personality. For anyone who asks anything from a tree never goes away disappointed. This analogy of the tree is also used by Lord Caitanya in helping to explain one of his Shikshastakam verses. So just look at a tree. Earlier today, I was in Whittier, and there's this one place in Whittier. I bless a particular establishment every year. And outside there, it's an old age home. And outside they have these huge trees, so tall, and the proprietor was telling me that those trees are several hundred years old. And they're still stout and strong, such huge trees. And he tells me that in the summer in Whittier it gets very hot. But those trees, what do they provide? Shade, shelter. Lord Caitanya, in explaining his Shikshastakam verse, says, we take shelter of the tree. Does the tree ever ask, okay, pay me some rent? If I come to somebody's house, give me shelter, okay. But after 3 days, hey, Prabhu, come on. The tree never asks for anything. People come, they take the flowers from the tree, take the fruits from the tree. Does the tree protest? If I came to your house and started putting everything in my car, you would say, what's wrong with Prabhuji? Why is he taking everything? But we take things from the tree doesn't say anything. Young couples, they come, they carve their heart initials, Bobby loves Susie, into the tree tattoo, right? The tree says nothing. If somebody was to come to me and start carving, I would say, hey, come on. But the tree remains silent. And then Lord Caitanya, the one that's really wonderful, even the tree is dying because of no water. The tree will never say anything. If I'm thirsty, I call out, oh, bring me water, bring me water. But the tree, even if it's drying up and dying, does not ever ask. And the tree has to tolerate the scorching heat and the blistering cold winds, like your favorite Chicago now. They have blistering snow, right? Blistering. But the trees are outside. So Krishna here is pointing out, Lord Chaitanya is pointing out, meditate on the tree, that we should be willing and able to give. We take Krishna consciousness ourselves, fill us up, fill our own selves with Krishna consciousness. That's important. You have to, first of all, charity begins at home. So you have to fill your pot. So every day, chanting, reading, worshiping, every day, so that your spiritual life is full. Then when your spiritual life is full, then automatically you want to give. That is how I live. During the week, I'm studying, I'm chanting, I'm reading, I'm praying, so that when this day comes, I have something to give. So, that is lesson number 2. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.